Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a lovely 3rd series dial, white gold, Patek Philippe 3970G, German language perpetual calendar chronograph. It is perfect in size, it is perfect in proportions. 36.2 millimeters in diameter in white gold. The watch measures a reasonable 13.1 millimeters thick, and from lug to lug, 43.6 millimeters. The timepiece has a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs, and when you throw it on the wrist, the timepiece wears beautifully. I can recommend it for a wrist of, oh my goodness, I'm not going to recommend a lower wrist size. This watch is so compact, any wrist, male, female, large or small, will wear it well. If your wrist is huge, remember, it's a Patek Philippe Perpetual Calendar Chronograph. It has gravitas. It does not need size to make a statement, except a statement of good taste, which it does constantly. You can see it'll slide underneath the cuff quite easily. Lug to lug, short across the wrist, easily fitting my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. The timepiece is equipped with a large rectangular scale alligator leather strap in light brown. It is a matte finish. It has a sheer edge showing the layers of construction, the monotone stitch, and as you can see on the underside, it is a Patek Philippe factory strap in outstanding condition with a calfskin underlay, pull tab spring bars on both lugs so you can remove the strap without resorting to tools. Your fingernail will suffice. Calatrava cross outboard of a folding clasp in matching white gold. Some insurance against droppage while donning or removing. The later watches in late Series 3 and Series 4 would have included that deployant clasp, so that's a rare and highly desirable option, as this watch, built from 1986 to 2004 in about 4,000 copies, was rarely equipped with a deployant clasp from the factory. Now, taking a look at the case, people always want to know, how are the case lines? How is the definition? Well, as you can see, the lugs feature outstanding fluting, which is well defined and mostly intact. I would say the watch has probably been refinished once, and you can see that the condition is outstanding. The refinishing, the one refinishing, from my estimation, was done professionally and to a high level, and you can see that's true in as much as the bezel still breaks remarkably sharp against the rounded profile of the case. So the lug fluting is intact, the breaks between lug profile and case intact, and the sharp break between the bezel lip and the case intact. Quick note about these lugs. They were constructed separately from the case and then welded on with evidence of the weld removed to create that sharp joint between lug and case. This is the expensive old school way of making a case before everything was stamped or CNC'd, and it speaks to the level of attention to detail that Patek lavished on this watch, that the case itself is a masterpiece of handcraft. The dial is what Patek would describe as opaline or satin silver. We have white gold dart style indices, and they are appliqué. Of course, we also have baton style hands that are faceted and come to a point, characteristic of the Series 3 and 4 dials. You'll also note there is a German language calendar, and it becomes second nature. Whether you speak German or you're merely willing to learn, it quickly becomes second nature to read from this dial. The perpetual calendar is programmed up to the year 2100, can deal with leap years, can deal with irregular length months. The moon phase need be adjusted only once every 122 years, and of course the watch is a chronograph, so you get the chronograph and the perpetual calendar, a long-running Patek tradition dating back to the early 1940s of putting both complications in a wristwatch. Now, rolling over to the reverse side, this is the other part of what you're paying for, not just a handmade case and a pretty face, but the caliber CH2770. It is Lemania based on the Lemania 2310, which, as the Omega 321 went to the moon, Patek makes a lot of changes. The mobile stud index is replaced with the Gyromax free-sprung style balance. The conventional finish is upgraded to Geneva hallmark. The flat hairspring is upgraded to an overcoil hairspring. The power reserve is upgraded from 48 hours on the standard Bausch to 65 hours on this model, and of course adjusted in 6 positions and pivoting on 24 jewels. It is quite technically impressive. One trait it shares with the basic watch is the use of a column wheel and a lateral clutch, and you can see that the column wheel is capped in Geneva fashion. This is one of the standards of Geneva watchmaking, which, like anglage and the partridge eye well around pivot jewels, actually has its roots in functional requirements. So the cap on the column wheel traditionally was intended to prevent the levers and their horns from popping out of the crenellated towers if the watch were shocked. So while it's beautiful, it's also functional. It beats away at 18,000 vibrations per hour, and of course it bears the Poinçon de Genève, the Geneva hallmark, mirrored anglage, black polished screws with chamfered slots and circumference, satin finished steel components for the chronograph that are themselves beveled on their edges, satination on all of the wheels, Côte de Genève perfectly aligned across bridges, and engine turning on the base plate. It is the best of all possible worlds. 30 meters water resistant, so the watch is more sporty than a sports watch, but it is a certifiable collectible and a much loved classic. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.